Hey guys, Daniel Zero, how you doing? I hope all is well in YouTube land. Whatever part of the world that you are in. Okay, we are going to make one of my favoriteest things, man, in just all year round of my favorite thing, monkey bread. It's the pull apart, cinnamony, delicious, gooey monkey bread. Don't know, I'm not a breadiologist or any of that kind of crap. I'm just, a dude that loves monkey bread. I don't know why they call it monkey bread. Probably because dudes like me, as it's cooking, run around the house going, ooh, 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 is it done yet? Ah, ooh, ooh. That's probably why, but maybe that's just me. I don't know. So, all right, let's get started. Here in our mixing bowl, we have 3 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 cup of sugar. I have 2.5 teaspoons of instant yeast. Yeah, there's a lot of people who add the yeast to the water and let it bloom with the sugar, but it's fine to do it this way for this recipe, so don't sit there and go, you didn't do yeast right, you stupid. So this they're already in here and it's fine. So we're going to take these dry ingredients now. You can sift them all together if you'd like. I will just take a whisk and fluff it all up like that and combine those dry ingredients. And I will leave the recipe in the description box. Now we're going to come over here to our handy dandy KitchenAid super awesome mixer. We're going to use our dough hook attachment. I'm going to lift it up. Now to the dry ingredients, I'm going to add 1 cup of warm water for the yeast, and I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of this melted butter right here, and we're going to need this butter for the candy topping. So we're going to clean out our teaspoon because it's dirty. We're going to clean it out with our super cool Dutyologist of Grubology apron, and we are going to turn this on low just to mix and combine. We're going to add in our 1 cup of warm water. We're going to add in our 2 tablespoons of melted butter. I'm going to add a little more butter because, well, I'm a big fat guy and I like butter. Now we're going to let this knead until it forms a nice bread-like dough ball. I mean, anybody who makes bread knows that you want that bread dough ball. You may have to add a little bit more liquid. Be very careful. Add it very slowly if you do. You don't want to make it too gooey, and we have to add more flour because that would just screw the whole recipe up. So I would suggest if it looks a little dry to you, add 1 tablespoon of water at a time until it gets to the consistency of the bread that you enjoy. If you like cinnamon, throw more cinnamon in there. If you don't like cinnamon, leave the cinnamon out. If you like nutmeg, throw nutmeg in there. It's one of them things that you can put whatever you like in there, and it's all good. So I will probably add 1 more tablespoon of water to this just to get it to where I like it. And once we get our dough ball and we get the dough the way we like it, we'll go to the next step. So I'll see you in a bit. Okay, while the dough is kneading, we're going to go ahead and make up our candy coating, topping, candy part of the bread. What we have in here is 1 cup of melted butter, 1 cup of packed brown sugar. You can use light, dark, whatever it is that you are into. 1 cup of nuts of your choice. We are using hickory nuts because that is what the hill provided us. We had really good hickory nut harvest this year, and we cracked them up and we got our hickory nuts. And we are going to add about 1 cup or so of raisins. Again, if you don't like raisins, then feel free not to add your raisins. If you love the raisins, then feel free to put in a crap load of raisins, whatever it is that you're into. And we're just going to mix all this up till the sugar melts. You'd like to have your butter warm enough to where it will help dissolve the brown sugar and make a nice candy coating for the bread. Okay, that looks like some good stuff to me. So now we have our dough. It's completed. I'm going to remove our attachment. Set that aside, and we're just going to roll this out. This is our dough ball. Now keep in mind, it's a little bit dry. We want it a little bit on the dry side. I believe I added about 4 more tablespoons of water to this dough. We want it still a little bit on the dry side because we're going to be cutting these into sections and soaking them in the candy mixture. So if it's a little bit on the dry side, it's okay, because we're going to want it to soak up some of that candy delicious goodness. So we're going to roll this out kind of like a log, about an inch or so, a little bit more, roughly. If it ain't perfect, it ain't perfect. Do the best you can. Just roll it back and forth like this and let it stretch out. Man, I can smell the cinnamon already. Oh, ooh, 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 ooh. Sorry. The monkey man coming out of me. All right, so we're going to roll out like this into a log. And then we are going to be cutting with any kind of knife you like. 1 inch, approximately 1 inch sections. Just like this. Go through and cut your sections of your dough. Some may be bigger, some may be smaller. It's all right. A little bit of variety, just like life and people, a little bit of variety is good. Okay, now you're going to want some sort of a baking dish. We prefer the round one here. This is a round granite ware. This came with my my Solivor Sports Sun Oven, believe it or not. This is the one that I use. Even though we're going to be using the solar oven, we're going to be baking it in the house. This is still the one that I use, but whatever pan you decide to use, make sure you grease the crap out of it, man, because this stuff is sticky and gooey, and it will stick if you don't, quote unquote, like the cookbook say, the technical term, grease the crap out of it. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to get some tongs. Going to get some tongs, and we're going to take a section of our dough. We're going to dip it into the candy, just like this. Work it all around and get it covered, and then we're going to take this section with whatever's stuck to it and set it in just like this towards the corner of our pan. We're going to keep doing that until we get the pan covered, and however many layers it'll take. Sometimes it takes 2 layers, sometimes it's just 1 layer, depending on how big your pan is. Just like that. We're going to form this all the way around and fill it in with these sections all the way in through the middle. So once we get that done, I will show you what it looks like here directly. Okay guys, you can see we got our first layer in here now. A couple of things. Remember that the bottom of the pan is going to be the top of the bread, because it's going to be, when we take it out of the pan, we're going to invert it, so it's going to be on top. So it's okay to put a little bit of stuff down in between the cracks. It's okay to have cracks. You don't have to mash all the bread together, because remember, it's bread and it's going to rise. It'll rise and fill in the spaces. But we're going to take just a little bit of our coating stuff here and just sprinkle it around and let some of it seep down into the bottom of the pan, because that is going to be actually the top of the bread. So think of up is down and down is up and all that kind of good stuff. And then we're going to start preparing the next layer. So we're going to take our leftover little dough cubes here and start adding them to the candy mix, and then we're going to do another layer on top just like we did this one here. We also now have our oven turned on. It's the lowest setting we can get it. Our oven light doesn't get hot enough to proof bread, and we don't have any sun today to do it outside in the sun oven. So we have our oven set, I think it's on 170 is the lowest ours will go, so we can proof this and let it rise a little bit before we actually bake it. So a little tip is put a little bit of water in the bottom of your oven. That'll help create some steam, and that'll help your bread proof a little bit better. So, all right, we're going to move along, and we're going to do the second layer, finish this layer out here, and we'll get back with you here directly. Okay guys, so we got our second layer in there now. The oven just beeped, which tells us it's 170 degrees in here. So now we turn the oven off, and we're going to put this inside like this and let that dough rise until it's risen and it's about double in size. It'll almost fill up this little pan once it's risen, and it takes about 30 minutes. So we will see you in 30 minutes. Yeah, I'll see you back here in 30 minutes. Okay guys, this has been rising for about 40 minutes or so now. The reason is because when we turned our oven on and it got up to 170, I put it in and I let the door crack for a little bit because I really didn't want that temperature to be more than 100 or 110 degrees or so where it would kill the yeast. But this has risen up nicely, and you can see it's just about double in size. Everything is nice and ooey and gooey. So now we're going to turn our oven on and let it preheat to 350. If you proof this outside, or you have a different way of letting your dough rise, then by all means go ahead and preheat your oven and get it ready. So now, when our oven hits 350 degrees, we are going to bake it for 35 minutes approximately. We'll let you know the exact amount of time, but each day is different. Cold, dry, hot, humid, it all makes a difference when you're baking stuff. So we're just going to bake it till it's done. We'll call it that, but it's going to be about 35 minutes. So we will see you in about, I don't know, it'll probably be 45 minutes or so because we are going to let the oven preheat and then put the bread in and let it bake. So we'll see you in about 35-40 minutes. Okay guys, we are at 35 minutes and it looks golden brown and delicious. It looks spongy and it melts right back. So what we're going to do is now we are going to let this set for about 5 minutes, and that's it. We're going to put a plate on here in about 5 minutes, and we'll flip it over and see it. If you let this cool and settle in the pan, well then you're kind of screwed. You're going to be eating it with a spoon out of the pan. So we want to get this out while it's still warm, but not yet, crazy runny and not stupid hot and not too solid to get out of the pan. So we'll see you in 5 minutes, and we'll flip this out and we'll see the finished product. So be right back with you. Okay guys, here's what we're going to do now. We're going to take our plate. We're going to use a plate that's kind of got a deep edge on it just in case there's anything that's gooey that's going to run down and settle. That way it doesn't run over the top. We're going to put the plate over the top of the pan just like this, and then we're just going to flip it and invert it all at the same time onto the plate like that. You can hear that it's hollow, so I'm hoping that it came out. Of course, it never does everything right whenever the camera's on, and mostly yes. Here we go, fall apart goodness, ooey gooey. Stay on the plate. All right, there we have our monkey bread. Now we're going to let it cool just a little bit and kind of settle and stiffen up just a little bit more. We may scrape out with a rubber spatula some of this here on in the pan and spread it on top. And then once it cools down a little bit more, of course, we've got to give it the old, poison / taste test. We'll see in a bit. Oh man, I love it. We're going to give it the old taste test here, just to make sure that none of the ingredients we used was actually poison. And I got my coffee handy because, man, it goes good with coffee. It's so good. Well, there you have it, guys. Quick, well, not quick, but definitely easy. Doesn't take a whole lot of skill to do this. If I can do it, you guys can totally do it. Give it a try. It's stupid good, man. So I'm going to enjoy. You guys have a great rest of the day. Thanks for watching. God bless. See you. Buzz, buzz, the end.